It's good morning. It's morning. All right, so these covers have dried overnight, and you know, just want to show them to you guys. See, there's just a little bit of a curve on the spines. I just set them upright, kind of upside down to dry overnight, and that glue has definitely, stiffened the spine enough to where it'll hold that shape. Okay. So, doing a curved spine really isn't a huge thing, right? Like, I suppose you could make them a lot more curvy, but that gives it a nice look, I think. Yeah, so here's the other Reader's Digest. This is the one that we just did the fabric on the inside and didn't add anything into the spine at all. Just, basically just glued the fabric in, but it's still got some flex, still got a little bit of flex, and it's, it's soft, but it's sturdy enough that we can stitch signatures in there just fine. This one is a little stiffer. This is the one where I added a couple layers of paper under the fabric and glued that in, and then just glued some fabric over the top. So this one's ready to go too, pretty simple. This one, I will probably add another piece of fabric over this, just because I'm not sure I like the way that just that white looks, or I may just glue like some lace or something like that. And I'm also going to do the stitching on the spine. So I'm going to figure out what I want to put on this cover before I do that stitching. Okay. This one I will do the stitching, just like that. I actually just really like it with just the spine showing like that. This one I probably will not do any stitching on because this one's a little bit too wide for me to fit in on the bed of my sewing machine. I'll try and maybe it will, but I don't know. I might use the one old machine that I've got because it's got a wider bed on it. So I don't know. Plus it's a little bit more rugged. So we'll see. Anyway, so I'm done with the covers for now. Definitely going to do more to them later on, but for now they're just going to kind of hang out. So I thought what I would do is, and just so you guys know, I'm doing some other journals at the same time. So I'm going to be working on these 3 and doing videos, talking about just doing real basic junk journals with those 3 covers. And then these are also going to be junk journals, but I will be using a lot of other types of stuff in this series. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to do all of these, but these are the ones that I've been talking about, the botanical type of journals that I wanted to do. And I decided to do them in Reader's Digest. So I have a lot of really special papers that I want to use in these. And so these will be the ones that I will list in my Etsy shop. But I think I'm going to try to work on these at the same time as those other 3. Okay, so those 3, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I might wind up selling those too, or maybe give them away or something. I don't know, but I need to work on these. So I'm going to be working on both kind of consecutively. Although the papers that I'm going to use in the other ones, I promised that I would use just stuff that I found or picked up really cheap or whatever. So more junky, these ones I think I'm going to just put a little bit more, obviously time into, because I've got a lot of them to work on, but also a lot more embellishment and that kind of stuff. So, those other 3 are just going to be really straightforward. So I thought we would look at, I just wanted to tell you guys that because it might be a little while between videos for this little, I guess, series. So, but I'll try to shoot some video of, what I'm doing with these guys too. Okay. So let's look at, pulling some papers. I've already got a lot of the papers pulled for the big series, but I thought what I would do, I pulled out a whole bunch of other stuff that I thought would be kind of fun and kind of, you know, they're just stuff, you know. There's a couple pages from a pamphlet. So I'm just going to make a pile basically of, you know, random papers that I'd like to use in those. So these are some pamphlets that I don't remember where they came from. I think they were in a box of books, but working on 3 journals, so I don't need, you know, a ton of these, but I like that there's some color, and I think they're kind of quirky and kind of cool. I like when I make a journal like that where it's, you know, where I call it like super junky, it's really just random. Like I like to just include things that are very, very random and, you know, without much of a theme. So this is just a like a box of papers that I've just sort of stuck in there just because I might want to use them in journals someday, you know. There are some pages from one of those. So this photo album that these pages came from was also in a box of books that I got from the bookstore, and so I'm just gonna pull out some of those because those were pretty cheap, basically. This is just some paper from a notebook that I got at the thrift store. It's got some pink lines. So I'll try to, let's see, so we've got 3 journals, so it's 4, 5, 6. We'll say 2 of these for each journal. Maybe we could do maybe like 1 in each signature or something like that. Got to have something to kind of fill the space too, right? What are these? Oh, these are from an address book. Yeah, these are from an address book that it was some kind of like Japanese art address book or something. I can't remember. Anyway, this paper's a little bit thicker, but it's got some nice lines, and so we'll just pull 6 of these. I can't remember what this was, but it's got these like Japanese, yeah, detail of a screen, Japanese, about 1600 it says. So I don't know, I think it was like Japanese paintings or something. What else is in here? Let's see. Oh, and then there's that flower arrangement book. Those flower arrangement date books. Okay. Sorry, I know. It's just, it's random, right? So some music pages. I have some other sheet music that I might use in these, I think. What's this? Oh, this is just drawing paper. See, 25 cents. Oh, this has a lot of texture to it. And it's pretty thick paper. But I do like to use, you know, lots of different textures and different weights of paper, different textures of paper in a junk journal. Okay, then these guys, this is the wrapping paper. This is the paper that I use to wrap my journals in when I ship them. I had some of these that I already cut down, so we'll use some of those. What else? This is some typing paper that I picked up at a thrift store also. It was old, you know, it's old typing paper. This glassine paper, just wanted to tell you guys real quick. Hold on, let me see if I can pull just one small sheet out. I guess not. So these are these are papers that you can buy at clearbags.com. Okay, so if you love glassine envelopes and glassine bags, but you don't want to necessarily pay for them, this paper is really cheap. If you just go to clearbags.com, I'll leave a link in the description, but that's really the website, clearbags.com, and search up glassine paper. You can buy this paper super cheap. It's like, I mean, like less than $2 for like 50 sheets, you know. Really, it's super cheap. They use it, they market it as paper to separate like prints. Like say you order some prints from a printer, right? They would use this as like a divider in between the prints, and that's basically what they market this paper for. So, but it's cool. It's glassine paper, and it's nice to make envelopes with. So just wanted to mention that to you guys, because I don't know if I've ever talked about that before. But clearbags.com has that glassine paper. Oh, let's see. See, we already got quite a stack. So these are all pretty much like solid or lined pages. These are all like printed. So I'm going to just kind of do this in two piles now. I picked up this box of paper. I don't think I even paid $3 for it. I think I paid maybe $1 for it. And look at, it's super nice paper. So I'm going to use some pages out of this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm figuring two pages per journal. And let's see. I've got a box of, they're just like little notepads and stuff that came from thrift stores, and you know, just usable papers, you know. So let's pull some pages out of some of these notebooks. I mean, like this stuff, we could use some of those. I think these are, yeah, these are score sheets from some kind of game. Kismet? I don't know. Never heard of it. If nothing else, maybe we can just tuck some of these into some pockets or something. But these kinds of things are nice to just use in junk journals. Add a little bit of color and kick up the randomness, right? Things to do. So these are probably a little too small to use as a page on their own, but they could be stitched or glued onto like a smaller page and then, you know, become a larger page. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to pull out a few extra of those. So these are just all just random notebooks. Oh, there's some of the some blue ones too from that same paper mill. I just, you know, I don't know. You buy these, well, back when I could actually go to thrift stores, but I would find just, you know, bags full of just different note papers, and for like $1, you know, and it's totally usable paper. So might as well pull all of those. I'll save this for something else. Let's see. Now this is from a notepad that I bought at Tuesday morning. I'm not going to use any of those. Yeah, it was a notebook like this. That also came from Tuesday morning. This book, I believe, I got at the Goodwill outlet, I think, a long time ago. I haven't been there for a long time. I'm going to pull some pages out of that too. I have a whole bunch of these notepads from this Betty Orovic. And I just, let's see, let's pull some of these that don't have her name on. But I thought they were cute, you know, with the flowers and birds and stuff on them. Let's pull a couple of these. I have a giant pile of stuff to go through over here, you guys. This is kind of fun. I haven't been in this box of paper for a long time. I like this pink paper. And then these little notebooks. These are great. Maybe we can use some of those. Maybe we can use some of those. Oh, and then this. Yeah, this was from a children's, like a reading workbook. Let's put it in the pile. Oh, here's some of the smaller glassine papers. Maybe we could use a few of these too. Oh, and then I have some other pages in here that are from books from thrift stores. This was actually a stamp collecting book, and I think I cut these down at some point to use in mini journals. You guys recognize this paper? This is that old, you know, computer paper. I think we used to call it computer paper. What else is in here? Okay, and then there's like some scrapbook paper and stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, these are from some journals I made a while back. Some origami paper. Okay, so these will work well to stitch or glue some of those shorter notepad pages onto. I like the look of origami paper with the Reader's Digest. I just think that the patterns work really nicely together. Okay, and then these scrapbook paper pages. I don't remember what I had cut these to work with, but I'll put them over here in the pile just because they might work. Oh, there's some of Tracy's printables. And then there's a bunch of wrapping paper in here too, and some wallpaper. I guess we could use some of this wrapping paper. I haven't used any of this for a long time. I got a whole roll of this, and I guess I kind of got sick of it. I got a little tired of it. These are some book pages from a Latin textbook, I think. Or no, French. Yeah, from a French textbook. And these are pages from a typing book, an old typing book. So most of these books, like the typing book and the French textbook and stuff like that, most of those books came from the bookstore. And when I say the bookstore, I mean the used bookstore where I buy boxes of books. And I basically purchase those sight unseen. So it's always kind of a surprise, right? But there's always good stuff in them. So already I've got a giant pile of stuff, and we'll just have to figure out how to use some of this stuff. Let me pull some of these pages off. All right. I was trying to keep it in 2 piles, but I don't think that's going to work right yet. Okay. I want to pull some pages out of here. And then where's those other little... Here they are. Those other little notebooks. Whoops. Be careful with the X-Acto knife, Jessica. Okay, so this has a staple in it. So I'm just going to undo the staples. Pull out the staples. I do have a staple remover somewhere. Huh?
Did I ever?
Oh no, I'm recording now.
Oh.
It's okay. All right, so just 3 of these. I'm afraid I'm going to wind up with too much paper pulled. So this one is stitched together in signatures. So I just want to find the center. The center of one of the signatures. There we go. Trying not to brandish the X-Acto knife too much. All right. How many pages are in each signature? So you can tell. So there's 4 pages or 4 sheets of paper per signature. That's a pretty common number for a signature usually. So the last page in the signature is glued in to the spine, but the other pages that, you know, were on the inside of the signature are not. So this one is not going to come out. This is the like outside pages of the signature. These most likely won't come out intact. Well, maybe they will, but those are the ones that are glued in, so they get kind of messed up. And I mean, you can use them, but you have to figure out some other way of using them. So I'm just going to pull out the center 3 out of one more signature out of this notebook. I like this paper. I like the color, and it's actually pretty nice weight. Okay, so I've got 2 sheets out of this little notebook for each journal. And then this little guy, same thing, stapled together. I like to have a nice balance of, you know, lined paper, grid paper, blank paper, drawing paper, and all different kind of textures of those types of paper, you know. So, you know, like for blank papers, say like rice paper or just, you know, copy paper or drawing paper, tracing paper, whatever. Any kind of paper. It doesn't even matter. Any kind of paper. So these are all just little notebooks that I don't even remember where they came from. Like probably in a bag of notepads that I bought at the thrift store. Okay, but this one, for some reason, I remember it from the Goodwill outlet. I only went to the Goodwill outlet a few times last year, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I just could not deal with how aggressive people were at that place just for the books. It was kind of insane. So, okay, so again, these signatures, there's 4 pages. So that 4th page is going to be difficult to get out. So I just go to the center of the signature, and you can tell the center of the signature because that's where you see the strings. And then I just take a sharp X-Acto and I cut straight through that string. And sometimes I cut through the paper a little bit. It's, you know, it's not a huge deal. It does make a little bit of a cut in the paper, but it's not going to affect the integrity of the paper. Not really. Some people like to go under the string, which I do sometimes, but anyway, just however you can get it out in one piece. So quite a little pile over here already. Now let's look at some other stuff. So I pulled some books. I pulled some books from, these are some books that I've gutted and used the covers, and I thought would be nice to use some pages from in some of these guys. And I will probably use some of these pages in the other journals that I'm making too. So I want to pull some pages out of this shorthand book. And then this is an old English textbook. Just, you know, I liked it because it has these little drawings, like these little tiny drawings on in the margins and stuff. Anyway, so I'll pull some pages out of that. Oh, here's some more sketchbook paper. This is a much thinner drawing paper than that other one that I pulled pages out of. I've got about 6 of those to use. Oh, and then I love this book. It's all about beetles, how to know the beetles. So we'll use some pages out of here. I saw somebody using this book. I think it might have been Rosemary. And I don't remember. But anyway, she was using that book, and then it was really funny. I actually found it in a thrift store like the very next day. It was super weird. Okay, so this is black, just black drawing paper, like you would use gel pens or something on it. And I like to add a little bit of black paper to my journals lately. I think it's nice to give people that sort of contrast, you know. So I'm just cutting through those strings where the signature was stitched in. I'm pulling, I don't know how many pages are in each signature in here, but I'll bet you it's 4. Yeah, because that 4th one is glued. So now I know I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I should be at the center of the signature again. This one is really bound. It's like really tight because it's like a soft back. It's like a soft cover book, and the pages are glued in really tight. Okay. I could use these too and just tear them in half and then fold them this way too. So I'll put these over in my pile. We'll take apart one more signature. I might not use all of this in these journals, but it's good to have options. And that way the work is done for, you know, because what I don't use will go back in the box of, you know, potential pages. And then I picked this up. This might have been in a box of books too from the thrift store. So all of those books that I get, the boxes of books, the guy that owns the bookstore, he has gone around to all of the thrift stores, not all of them, but a lot of them, and made some kind of arrangement with them to where he can go and look through the books that they get donated and find stuff, you know, for his bookstore. And he also has an eBay store. And then he also pulls books that he thinks I could use. And he'll fill, and so they all come from the thrift stores. And sometimes he gets books like from estate sales and things like that too, but primarily they come from the thrift stores. Oh, and all of these pages are glued in. I've already checked it out on this book, so that's why I'm just tearing them out. Isn't this cool? I love these airplanes. Anyway, so I get them sight unseen. I never know what's going to be in those boxes. But anyway, so here's this is some, trying to find the center of the signature on this. This is an atlas. I don't have my glasses on. Okay. Okay. I think that's the center. Is it? Are these all glued in individually? Yep, they are. All right. Yep, they're just tearing right out of the spine. So I'm just going to pull a few pages out of this atlas to use in this little trio. I might use some of these in the other Reader's Digest too. Okay. Oh, it's getting crazy. So then I have a drawer where I just stick notepads like this, like larger books of paper that I think would be useful that have been discarded, basically. And I think some of the stuff is kind of fun. So I'm going to pull some pages out of here. Obviously, these are going to need to get trimmed a little bit too. I'm just going to pull six sheets out of this book. And then this is some handwriting paper. This is not the the newsprint type of handwriting paper, or, you know, for cursive. Actually, this paper, I think it came from Office Depot. And I believe it was about, I think it was like $2, something like that. It wasn't expensive, and that's why I got it. But I like that it was not newsprint too. So anyway, so if you're looking for handwriting paper, check out Office Depot. They might have some. And then this paper here, this is the grid paper that I love to use in all my journals. And this is the paper that I got from the neighbor across the street. And I'm telling you, I got a ton of paper from her. Her husband was an accountant. And she told me that he always felt that if one was good, a dozen was better, or something like that. And so he just had a ton of paper, and he stockpiled paper in his office. And so she was getting ready to move out. It was like a year after he had passed away, and she hadn't even cleaned out all the office yet. And she started looking through it, and then she just realized, like, oh my God, there is so much paper in here. And I think my mom had told her something about my thing for paper. And so she let me come over and clean out all of the cabinets that, he used to store his paper in. So it's just all of this kind of stuff, I mean, I was like, oh yeah, I'll take it. I will definitely help you out. I mean, she gave it to me. So, and she was happy that it found a new home, whoops. Apparently this was a book I was using for a live sale at one point. Okay. So I just pulled like 6 pages out of each of those. I thought this book would be kind of fun to use some pages. Be kind of along the randomness theme, It's a book of electronics vest pocket reference book. So why not, right? Okay, so here's where I was talking about. Sometimes I go under the string and cut up. Usually, like, if it's long enough, I think that's what it is when, instead of cutting down, like, if there's enough room for me to easily get the blade under, I will go under and cut up. Otherwise, like, if the stitches are real short, then I usually just cut down. And yeah, anyway. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's see how many pages are in these signatures. 4 pages. So I have been asked a number of times to talk about, how many pages should you put in a signature? How many pockets should you use? What size should your tags be? And, all that kind of stuff, just to get asking for like specifics. And I get that a lot of people need that. Like, a lot of people just really want to know, like, okay, how many pages do you use in a signature? And I always have to answer, it just depends. Like, because I'm using papers that are all different, so if all of the papers that I used were the same thickness and the same texture and stuff and that kind of thing, then I would be able to answer that more definitively. But it's nearly impossible to answer that without knowing the weight of the paper and that kind of stuff. So, but I will say that experience has taught me that fewer pages in a signature is actually easier to stitch than a lot of pages in a signature. It's just easier to hold them all together and keep everything organized. I'm trying to find the center of this signature, and I'm not finding it very easily. Hold on. There it is. Okay, so the glue had kind of seeped through the stitching holes and closed it up in the center. So yeah, so it's really hard to answer that. if somebody asks me, because I have been asked this recently, how many signatures would you use in like a 3-inch spine? I would say maybe 11, something like that. In like a 2-inch spine, I would probably say 7. And I usually go with an odd number just because it's easier to center that odd number. So I would say, you know, maybe 7 signatures in a 2-inch spine, 5 signatures in a 1.5-inch spine. You'll notice that the signatures in this book are a lot thicker. There's a lot more pages in it, in each signature. So there we go. I think this is the one that's glued. Yeah. So it was like this book, they stitched 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages per signature. So I don't think I'm going to pull pages out of these books necessarily for pages in the books. But I do want to use maybe some of these little, it's don'ts for girls, a manual of mistakes. So I just thought this would be kind of fun to go through and maybe cut out some of these little guys and just stitch them onto some cards and just use them as little journaling cards in the journals. Don't be a prig. Girls who are never a little foolish are always deadly dull. See, like, I just think those are so cute. Don't pose as a saint, but be a girl of principle and your light will shine clearly. I don't know. I just think this is awesome. And there's a ton of them in here. So these will be kind of fun to just make little cards. And then I thought the same thing with this one for the poems. So there's some cute poems in here. You know, and I thought let's see if I can get some of these pages out to use maybe in these journals. Don't be a oh, these are all glued in. These pages are all glued in. So I'm just gonna set this aside for now, and then maybe I will just pull some of these pages and stick them into the pockets in the journals or something. But I do want to pull. Oh, and then there's some extra bird pages from another series of journals that I was working on. Let me stick these over here too. And then some of this English textbook. So this is why I wind up with so much paper left over. But I mean, we need to make for these 3 journals, we need enough pages to, you know, make at least, I'd say 21 signatures. So some of these have torn just a little bit, so we may need to reinforce those pages a little bit. This is a pretty old book. I'm just going to cut this one apart there. Yeah, see how these little drawings on the edges of the pages? I just think they're really cute. So I like those little little girl ringing a doorbell here. Anyway, so just a few pages from that. And then let's pull some out of the shorthand book. So you can imagine if you were making 20 journals or so, that you would have to have a pretty big stack of paper, right? So I'm having a hard time keeping this under control. And I know that I'm pulling way more than I need. But I do want to have lots of options. And the whole point is that I'm trying to repurpose a lot of this stuff, right? Like I'm trying to use up these. I mean, I wanted to use the cover from this shorthand book and, you know, make it into a journal. So, but I like the pages too. So I have like a section on my bookshelf that is just full of books of book blocks, basically, so that I can use the pages. So, because I like them. I like shorthand books. Who doesn't like shorthand books? So if you, and you know what, you can find shorthand books in thrift stores all the time. You just have to go look, you know. I mean, I wouldn't say, you know, get on eBay and, you know, start buying shorthand books. Because I feel like if you, this is kind of my philosophy about it. Stuff will come to you, you know. If you just, I know it's going to sound silly, but the things that you need and want, they will come to you in time, right? I know it sounds corny, but it's really true. You just have to be patient and kind of just wait for it, because, you know, some of the coolest stuff that I've found just came as a total surprise, you know, but you just have to, I guess, give it to the universe and say, you know, I would really love to find a shorthand book. And, you know, chances are you'll find one. I'm just saying. Anyway, I know it sounds crazy, but anyway, so I've pulled pages out of all these books and all those notebooks. And then, hold the phone. There's also this guy. So I guess the whole point in this video is just to show you the different options, like different types of papers that I've found that I like to use in junk journals. And all of this stuff, none of this stuff is brand new. It's all old books, old notepads, old, you know, drawing pads and stuff like that. Some older than others, but none of this stuff did I go out and buy it brand new, except for that handwriting paper, you know, from Staples. But look at, here's some, this is some, what is it, manuscript paper or something for writing music. Thrift store. This came from a thrift store. This is actually some really nice paper. Yeah, cotton fiber, 25% cotton fiber, 20-pound heavyweight paper. Let's pull a few of those out. And you'll notice that I haven't even talked about like coffee dyed paper or anything like that. Here's my City of Pullman paper because I love it. Any junk journal I make is going to have some City of Pullman paper in it. So then these are all end papers from different books that I've gutted. And I love to use these in journals just because, why not, you know? I mean, why not use this paper? And I think it's great for, you know, for whatever. And isn't that cool, Jess? The library, Jeremy E. Sizemore, but it's Jess. you just don't know what people are, you know, or I mean, and I like people to have all kinds of different papers to work with. So anyway, so these are just all literally just end papers from all kinds of different books that I've gutted. Okay. When I gut books and I'm like harvesting covers, that's what I do. I pull the book block out and then I tear off the front page and the back page, stick them in a pile. Okay. So some of the end papers, the ones that I think will fit, just fold it in half. And obviously I won't use all of these in those 3 journals, but this is like some A4 paper, I think. I don't know where that came from. These were just in a box in one of my filing cabinets. Oh, so this is some like handmade type of paper. It's similar to the straw paper that Rachel uses at Roxy Creations. She uses it in her collages a lot. And every once in a while, I'll find a notebook full of this paper. And it's very straw-like. So I don't know. I mean, it might be made from straw. Who knows? But anyways, I like to use a little bit of this if I have it in journals just for added texture. This is paper from a scrapbook that I cut the edges off of so it didn't have the holes. Some eco-dyed paper. I'm not going to use any of that. And then this is some manuscript paper that I can't remember where I got this from. Okay. Think we got enough paper yet, you guys? Okay, what else do I have over here? Oh, and then, of course, there's scrapbook paper. So a lot of these are pages that I use in the farmhouse journals and that kind of thing. They've got the like wood grain and stuff like that. So I want to use some of those. And these would make great pocket pages, I think, in these journals. So this is the more like lightweight, just paper, scrapbook paper. And then this little stack is all kind of like cardstock weight. So so I'd like to use these to make some pocket pages just because it's more sturdy. And then there is this pile of some other scrapbook papers. You'll recognize there's some Tim Holtz and stuff like that. So if I need more pocket pages, I might use that. Obviously, I bought that at, I think I got it at Joann's. But yeah, this scrapbook paper I think came in a box of paper that I might have picked up at the thrift store. I think. I don't remember like picking it out somewhere and falling in love with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I got it at Hobby Lobby or anything like that. Yeah, so we'll have this kind of, I think I have enough paper, right? So here's what I will do then to kind of prep. It's a huge pile. So I'm gonna need to do some trimming on some of this stuff. So what I'll do is I'll get my paper trimmer and measure the covers again, which I just buried. Okay. So this cover is a little bit taller. Hold on. It's a little bit taller, but not much. So it's about 8 1/4. So we'll call it no taller than 8 inches, okay, for this book. And then these, I believe, are 7.5. Yeah, well, actually, I would say, yeah, they are 7.5 inches tall, but I would say 7.25 would be our maximum height for paper. And then to figure out the width on the paper, you just want to take your ruler and measure from the edge of the book board out to from the inside edge to the outside edge. Even though the pages are going to get set back a little bit from this edge because of this little bit of a curve in the spine. As you stack pages together in signatures, it pushes pages out this way. So your papers are going to wind up not exactly the width in the book as what you measured because of the stacking of them. Do you know what I'm saying? So I try not to go any wider than twice this distance, okay? So 5 inches, it's actually 5.25 to the very edge of the book, but I don't want to go all the way to the edge of the book. I don't want my pages to go past that 5-inch mark. So I'm going to say 10 inches is my width on all my pages, unless I want them to be a page where, you know, the edge of it is folded over or something like that. So, but I know for sure I don't want anything to be taller than, we'll say 7.25. Okay, so here's what I think. I think that 7.25 inch measurement will also work for this book. So I don't need to now worry about making pages for this book and this book, because I can sort of scooch some pages up and some down in this journal. So so that's a good way to just, because when you lay them out, you can pull some up and pull some down and sort of trick it into looking like they're tall enough, you know. Anyway, so those, and then I'm just going to be going through these and sort of deciding which way do I want them oriented. So like this paper, it's nice that lines go horizontal when you're writing, but sometimes, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to actually make this, I'm going to go 7.25, and then I think I will make this page one that will fold in on the edge. Okay, so that's all I need to do to that other than folding it. Okay, so then this paper, this is that kind of like rice paper. I sort of want to maximize this. So what I'm going to do is just basically, I know that it's not any wider than, you know, 10 inches. Like we said, nothing can be wider than 10 inches, right? Unless we're going to fold it over. So I'm just going to, what's the width on this? It's about 12 inches. So I'm just going to cut these in half. And then, oops, it's kind of soft. And then these can just get folded in half and used like that in the journals, you know. So then these end pages, I usually will trim off that kind of ragged edge where I tore it off of the book block. But sometimes I don't. Like sometimes, like on this one, I think it's kind of cool. So I probably won't trim this one. I'll actually just leave it like that and fold it in half and put it in the journal like that. I just like that, because then you know what it is. When somebody opens the journal to this page, they'll recognize that this is an end page from a book, from an old book. But sometimes, like when there's all this glue and that kind of thing, you don't want that. I don't want that. I wouldn't like that, you know. So I'll just go through all these end pages and trim the ones I want to trim and not trim the ones I don't want to trim. And usually, whoops, most of these that I have pulled out are going to be the right size. See, this one's not more than 7 inches tall, and it's not more than 10 inches wide. So I know that if I fold this in half, it's going to fit in my journal. And this one's okay. I think this one I don't think needs to be trimmed. So anyway, so I will go through, and I wanted to do that on all of these anyway. So I'll go through all these end papers, end pages, whatever you call them, and trim those or not. And then the City of Pullman paper, I think I want to use this as a folded in page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut it to height. And then when I'm folding my papers, I'll make the City of Pullman part that folds in, you know. And let's see. So this paper, I'm just going to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to 7 inches, but I'm also going to use these pieces. Okay, so I know that I can fold these in half. I'll have a little short page from these and a, you know, almost full page size from those. So these guys, I would like to keep these oriented horizontally. I'm just going to cut that little bit of glue off the edge. But I think I'm going to do these the same way as I just did that last one. I'm going to leave the holes. So this is going to give me six more pages. So there's lots of this. I think I will make this also a fold-in, you know, page, and maybe even on both sides. So I just got to make sure it's not too tall, which it's not. It's under 7 1/4. And this could actually be folded in on both ends if need be, right? Let's see, what's the width? So it's like 12 inches. So I would need to fold it in like 2.5 inches or something on the end. And I think that'll work. So the book pages, let's see what the width is. So they're 5 inches. I think the shorthand book pages, I know they're not taller than 7 1/4. So these will be fine. I don't think any of these book pages need to be trimmed. They may need just a little bit trimmed off after the signatures are assembled and before they're stitched into the book, because they may stick out just a little bit. It depends on where we put them in the signature, but I'll talk to you about that when we get there. So I'm not going to do any trimming on these right now. What's the height on this is the English book. So this is right at 7 1/4. So that's good. These are just right at 5 inches. So I'm not going to worry about trimming these yet either. These little pages from the bird books, we know these are going to fit. So I'm not going to worry about those. Some people would take the time to maybe join these together. You know, like, oh, there's one of those maps that I printed. Some people would take the time to join these together, like with a piece of washi tape or something like that, and make it, you know, a vertical page in a journal. And we could totally do that. Or we could even use page like this and fold it like, well, we don't want, so this is the wrong time to be doing this, but we don't want it to be wider than 5 inches. So we'll fold this one a little short. And then we could just stitch this on here. We could stitch this one onto this page, right? And you could just very simply just run a seam with your sewing machine like that. Or you could even stitch like this, that, and that, and make this like a pocket or something. Or you could just glue this onto that page, onto that side. You know, that would be totally acceptable. So that's if you were concerned about having this page upright in your journal. If you don't care and you like having little small pages to work with, then I say fold it in half like that. And that's probably what I'll do with some of these. And some of them I might stitch in or whatever. I'm not sure. We'll decide later. Yeah, I just want to try to use these pages. Just want to use them up. I don't remember what these were. So these are this is the words book, and then this is the little like technical book. So those obviously don't need to be trimmed. So this paper, I would like to have it in its normal orientation in the journal. I'm going to leave the holes. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to have this at the top of my page. So I'm going to actually cut the bottom off. So they'll go into the journal like this or like this, right? So it'll look like a relatively normal page. And then I'll use these also. So this is just some really cool graph paper. It's 11 inches. I want to make this, I want to stretch this out as much as I can. So I just cut it in half, and these will fit just fine. And same with this. This is the, I think this grid or graph paper, whatever you want to call it, I think this one came from the thrift store. Yeah, because this is the one that's the State of California Department of Transportation. So this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down to 7 1/4. And then I'll fold these in, and then it'll have like the item, location, calculated by, the date, and the file number and stuff. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that'll be my flap of this page, you know. So somebody might want to write in there, like write some information or, you know, whatever. So I'm going to leave this page, you know, set up to fold in. This paper, where did this paper come from? I think this came from the thrift store too. I think it was the veterans thrift store. It's the one where you can kind of barter with them. Like you can make them an offer on stuff. So usually what I do is I fill my shopping cart, which I haven't done for a long time now, right? I fill my shopping cart with stuff that I want, and then he never wants to look in there. he never wants to like dig all the way through it. So he'll just kind of look at the top part, and then he'll go, well, what do you want to give me for it? And I'll be like, I don't know, $10. And he'll go, all right, like, just get it out of here. He's like, what's in there? He'll say, what's in there? And I'll be like, just paper mostly. And I'll say paper and books. And those are like his least favorite things, and file folders. Anyway, so this paper, I want to keep it in its normal orientation also. There's some glue along the top, so I'm just going to trim that off. And then I'm going to cut this to height, say about 7 inches. Okay. This is just barely over 10 inches, so I'm going to just cut this to width also. Okay. So I just trimmed off, you know, a little bit of that paper. And then let's see. This stuff. I definitely want to cut off the spiral part there on the edge, just because it annoys me. This one actually I love this side where it's the attendance, or I like that column. I don't want to mess up this paper. But this side has the name. I think I better try to keep this in its correct orientation also. It's hard to decide. What we could do is fold this up. We could make these into like a, not really a pocket page, but it could be a page where part of it flips down. Okay. So we'll have to be creative with those, because I really don't want to, I kind of want to just keep those intact for some reason. And map pages or atlas pages make great pocket pages. So we'll use these for pockets. And the airplane book. Let's see. I'm just trimming off the raggedy edge. And I think this would actually be really cool to use for pockets too. Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to put it in the pocket page pile, and we'll figure it out later. Okay, so this black paper, oh my gosh, I'm already over an hour. Well, these short pages, I do want to cut off that, ragged edge on them. And I know that if I fold these in half, they're going to work. So these, let's see, how tall are these? So these are like 8 1/4. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these to the correct height. I can probably, no, I don't want to do all of them. I'll do 3 at a time. So I'm going to cut these to the correct height. What's the width on them? Hold on. Yeah, I think I'm not going to decide about the width yet. I'm just going to decide about the height first. So I don't know what I'm going to do about the width on these, but I really don't want to cut the edge of this page off for some reason. So I'm just going to leave it intact for now. I might wind up just doing like a little flip out thing on that or something. Okay. So, and it would be cool to round these corners again so it would, you know, go with that. So these beetle pages, I like to leave the spiral on these because it has a tendency to lay flat in the book, and so they don't bug me as much. So these are going to stay intact. This drawing paper, I do not like the spiral on this. And I could have just taken that whole spiral apart. Like, I didn't necessarily have to rip the pages out of it. And if I had done that, where you just open up the whole spiral, then, you know, you would be able to salvage the top of that page or the side of this page with those cool square holes, you know. But as it is, I ripped them out, so there we go. Okay, so then these are from one of the notebooks. What's the width? Okay, so the width on this is 5 3/4. That's the height. I'm just going to go ahead and trim these down. Oops, to height and width, because I don't feel like I'm wasting that much from these by doing that. I mean, it's a little bit, you know, it's like that much, but it's okay. I don't want to have too many pages that have flip out pages on them, you know. Anyway, so these are fine, obviously. Let's measure these. So these are 4 1/8 or so by 6 1/2. So these are perfect. Perfect. Or I should say not too big. Okay, and so are these, I think. So just lots and lots of variety, all different types of paper. So I've got this whole stack of these pages that I pulled out of the notepads. So these I'm just gonna leave them as they are right now, and we'll see if maybe we want to stitch some of these onto some of those other like short pages, you know, or something like that, and just kind of see what we want to do with those. I'll just go ahead and put these little things in there too. These are the typing book pages. What's the width on this? 7 1/2. So these are almost the right height. I'm going to cut it just a little bit short. I know, I need to push in. I know. This is an old paper cutter. I probably should sharpen it, actually. There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to cut the top off where the pages are glued together. This was like a whole signature in a typing book. So these pages will probably fold in also, just because I want to salvage as much of that as I can. And this is the French textbook. These are just ever so slightly too tall, so I'm just going to trim them down just a tiny bit. There we go. And then the wrapping paper, let's see. Obviously, these were used in some other journals at some point. So these are perfect for Reader's Digest. Oh yeah, this was on these were for a bigger journal. So let's see. Okay, I think I know what I'll do here. So these have been used as pages in some larger journals, and these were pages that would flip in, and, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that seam off. I'm going to cut that one off too. Okay, so these can get folded in half. These I'm just going to trim to height. Nope, hold on, hold the phone. Okay, I'm going to trim these to width. It's kind of hard to hold these together. Okay, and then I'm going to cut them to height. Okay, and then these can be used as pages like that. Okay, and maybe I can stitch something on there, or somebody else can, you know, add something to that page in their journal later on in life. I think these are, this is the scrapbook paper, like pocket pages that I kind of already had put together. I know this paper came from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. So these I will use as pocket pages. They're already done. They're cut to the right size. And then these pieces of origami paper, these were already used in, I believe, some Reader's Digest journals at one point. So some of them will go in the books like this way, and some will go in this way, so that the half page will be on the other side of the book, you know. You could stitch like a paper bag on here or something. There's all kinds of different things that you can add on to this little short page. Yeah, so then these are some pages that, you know, I had already cut up for previous journals. Some of the glassine paper, this I can just fold in half. This, the reading workbook, I'm just going to cut this into 4 pages. Okay, so that's 4 pages. These can just get folded in half and used like that. Some more of the little notepads. So this is almost an hour and a half. The banana cookbook. I think these would make great pocket pages. So I'm just going to leave these intact, and then we'll fold these and make them into pocket pages. This is the index from the banana cookbook. Oh no, no sift baking. Okay, so that one is fine. This is that really nice, whoops, that one's got like a footprint on it. This is that Southworth paper. So I'm just going to cut this in half. I'm going to pull this page off that has the footprint on it, even though I think it adds character. Okay, I'm almost done, guys. Those can just get folded in half. These are from that Japanese art, like, date book. What the heck is going on? Oh, did I cut some of these already? I don't remember. Oh, no. I know what it is. There we go. Okay, I'm going to... What should I do? I think I'm going to just leave these intact for now and decide what I'm going to do with them later. So these, I'm going to cut these to height. And these I can just fold in half. These can get made into pockets, I think. This paper, I think, is pretty sturdy. Yeah. This, you got to be careful with this photo album paper, especially these old black ones. You know, just test it and see how it does when you fold it, like if it cracks or whatever. But I think it's kind of cool to make pockets out of it. So, and then this is just the writing paper. Cut that to height, and then I have some short pages. And then the craft paper. I'm going to cut this so that I'm going to cut it to height, and then also to width. A little bit shy of 10 inches. Okay. And this is really super heavy drawing paper with a lot of texture. So that's kind of got glue on the edge there. What's the width on this? That's like 12 inches. Just shy of 12 inches. So there we go. Okay, and then these will make nice nice pages like that. Okay. So that was picking out pages or papers for at least 3 journals. It's probably more like for about 6 journals, but that's okay. I mean, I'll have a lot of paper prepped for a future project, right? Sometimes with this kind of stuff, I have a box that I just toss paper into that I want to coffee dye. So this kind of stuff just winds up in there. I'm not going to do any coffee dyed paper or tea dyed paper or avocado dyed paper or anything like that in these journals. But you guys know it's out there. And, you know, if you want to use that, then yeah, go for it. Lots and lots of videos of how to coffee dye and how to tea dye and even avocado dye. So I could probably, I mean, I'd be happy to talk about my method of avocado dyeing. It might be a little different than some people. It's just my method of preparing the dye and storing the dye, because I do have a tendency to make a lot at one time, and it actually stores pretty well. So if you guys would like to see that, maybe I could figure out a way to get the camera over by the stove. So anyway, so these are going to be made into pocket pages. I'm going to finish trimming these, and then I'm going to fold all of these into shape. I'm going to get them all folded up, and then in the next video we will sort them out again and start kind of assembling some signatures. Okay, and then we'll also talk about using extra stuff like this, like envelopes and paper bags and pockets and stuff like that. So okay, and don't forget I've got these scrapbook paper pieces. So okay, so thanks for watching, guys. I know that was incredibly long, but I guess, you know, it's a long process, and I just wanted to really go through the whole, you know, the whole deal with pulling pages to use. So especially when you're doing multiple journals. Then that's another reason why I usually make more than one at a time, right? Because if I'm going to go through all the work to pull pages like this, I'm going to do it for more than one, you know. Anyway, okay, guys, I love you. I can't wait to read your comments. Have a good one, and I will talk to you sooner than later. Okay, love you. Bye for now.